Welcome to the moment everything changes. Look at Dave's face. Dave is staring at his phone screen, not because he found a funny meme, but because the wire transfer just cleared. 6 zeros. In this exact second, something strange happened. Dave's facial muscles, which have been tensed since 2010, suddenly relaxed. The glint in his eye is no longer ambition, it's indifference. Let me ask you the question that makes everyone break a sweat on a cold night. What would you do if consequences suddenly vanished? What if your boss, your neighbor, or even the law no longer had any material power over you? The uncomfortable truth no one wants to hear is money doesn't corrupt people. Money isn't a chemical that alters your DNA and turns you from Peter Parker into the Joker. Money is simply a pair of scissors that snips off the mask you were forced to wear. It's a magnifying glass for your true character. If you were only nice because you were broke, you weren't actually nice. You were just tactical. The art of hypocrisy for survival. Before this sudden windfall, Dave was the sweetest guy on earth. He'd smile at the janitor, laugh at his boss's cringy jokes from 1995, and handle his mother-in-law's passive aggressiveness with the patience of a saint. Is Dave a saint? No, Dave was simply broke. And when you're broke, kindness isn't a luxury, it's an investment. When you have no power, you can't afford to have enemies. You can't tell your boss his plan is as stupid as his haircut. You can't burn bridges because you might need to walk back over them to ask for a favor or a loan. In psychology, this is called behavioral constraint through scarcity. When your resources are limited, your brain enters survival mode. You are forced to be social and agreeable because you need people. Remember those times Dave laughed at his boss's jokes? That wasn't a laugh, it was a rent payment. And before you judge Dave and call him a hypocrite, you do it too. Yes, you, the one watching me right now. We all play the nice guy role because we fear getting fired, getting canceled, or losing the next contract. It's called survival. But what happens when the mask falls? Ethical stripping. Dave got the wealth. Maybe he inherited it or sold his startup to some sucker. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the balance has shifted. Cracks began to appear in the Nice Dave act. Crack number 1. Dave, who used to always tip 20% to impress his dates, now leaves a condescending look and disputes the bill down to the cent. Why? Because now he can afford not to care. He no longer needs people to see him as generous. He knows he's rich, and that's enough for him. Crack number 2. Suddenly, Dave is too busy for his college buddies who can't afford a $500 bottle of wine. And if he does go out with them, he pays the check with such a dramatic air of superiority that you feel like you've just signed your soul over to him. Crack number 3. If Dave stays at his job, he transforms from the collaborative teammate into a mini dictator. Those jokes he used to laugh at, he now mocks the teller's stupidity openly. If he quits, he spends his time on LinkedIn telling other hustlers how lazy people, who he was just a week ago, are ruining the economy. Dave didn't become a jerk. Dave was always a jerk. He was just a poor jerk. There is a famous study on moral licensing. When a person feels they have achieved great success or possess superior resources, they give themselves an involuntary license to act like a brat. They feel they've already paid their dues with good behavior, and now it's time for a break. There's also the power disinhibition effect. It causes social barriers to collapse because you are no longer afraid of material punishment. Just look at the comment section of anyone who just got a big promotion. You'll realize the personality just needed permission to come out. Are you the next Dave? Before you start writing an angry comment defending Dave, let's be real. You're probably more like Dave than you'd like to admit. So we've designed the Personality Magnifier Audit for you. These aren't trashy BuzzFeed quiz questions. These are diagnostic tools to find out your true self before you become a billionaire. Test number 1. How do you treat the person who has zero power over you? The waiter, the Uber driver, the customer service rep who gets paid peanuts to listen to you vent. This matters because these interactions reveal your moral baseline when there is no strategic benefit to being nice. If you're only nice to people who can promote you, you're not nice. You're a social climber. Test number 2. What would you do if you had a superpower that meant you faced no consequences? Would you still follow traffic laws? Would you still wait in line like everyone else? Wealth is a social invisibility cloak. It creates a bubble where criticism evaporates. If your ethics depend on others watching, you're just waiting for your first million to turn into a monster. Test number 3. Do you believe your current success, however small, is purely the product of your sheer genius? Or do you acknowledge the role of timing, privilege, and dumb luck? Research shows that people who deny the role of luck become more callous when they get rich. Because they believe they earned every cent, they feel they've earned the right to treat others like failures. In the end, money is the most accurate personality test you will ever take. It doesn't change you. It just pulls back the curtains so everyone can see the old, battered furniture inside. Most people fail this test, not because money is evil, but because they were never as good as they claimed. They were just broke and bound by necessity. If this talk made you uncomfortable, that's good. It means your conscience is still working, or you're afraid to discover that you're a little Dave in the making. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, provided you're still tactically nice enough to hit that subscribe button before you get rich.